praises belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Lord of all the worlds. We seek refuge in Allah from the evil of our souls and the evil of our deeds. Whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides, no one can lead him astray. And whoever he leads astray, then there's absolutely no one that can guide him. As for what follows, the best speech is the book of Allah, and the best guidance is the guidance of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Continuing where we left off, now we're in chapter 32, and it's Imam Al-Bukhari. He titled this chapter that the best or the most loved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that which is regularly practiced. Narrated Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, once the Prophet came while a woman was sitting with me. He said, "Who is she?" I replied, "She is so-and-so," and told him about her excessive prayers. He sallallahu alayhi wasallam said disapprovingly, "Do good deeds which are within your capacity, without being excessive, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not get tired of giving rewards, but surely you will get tired of ad-deen," meaning good, righteous deeds, acts of worship. And ad-deen, the good, righteous deeds, act of worship, loved most by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is that which is regularly done. The Prophet ﷺ, he spoke to Aisha disappointingly about the manner the woman prayed, is what Ibn Rajab said. Meaning that she prayed all night without sleeping. So it's like he wanted her to remain silent, as the act that she did is something that is disliked. And to praise people in their face, because the woman was present, is another thing that is disliked and not allowed in Islam. Or it could also mean, when the Prophet ﷺ spoke to Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha disapprovingly of her act, it could mean he spoke that way because Aisha was praising her for an act that isn't praiseworthy in the Sharia. So, at any rate, it's frequently mentioned that it's prohibited for a man to overburden himself, meaning you do deeds that you are unable to regularly practice. And it's also prohibited for a person to praise a person in his face. This hadith, it means that a person should be moderate in his actions when it comes to his practice of sunan acts, when it comes to his nawafil. You should do things that you're regularly able to maintain. For example, the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever seeks or whoever asks Allah for Jannah 3 times, then Allah will make it possible for him to get Jannah. And whoever seeks refuge in Allah from the hellfire 3 times, then Allah will protect him from the hellfire. Keep something like that regularly on your tongue. Then as you regularly progress, then you'll find that it becomes easier. Regularly practicing deeds are beloved to Allah the Most High. Even if it's the smallest of deeds. You take one sunnah act and you regularly maintain that. Even as something as simple as getting in the first row of the salah, as the best rows of the prayer are the first rows. So you say for every masjid or every congregational salah, I'm going to pray in the first row. Take that act and practice it, and you'll see the rewards. There are other narrations which show when we practice sunnah acts, we should regularly maintain them, as this was the practice of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Also, it's disliked and prohibited that we start deeds and then we stop. As the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he spoke to Abdullah ibn Amr once, and he said, "Don't be like so-and-so. He used to pray at night, but then he stopped." This hadith, it means Allah doesn't get tired of giving rewards as long as you're doing good deeds to earn them. The smallest of deeds. Maybe you want to just fast in the wintertime on Monday. Regularly practice it. Maybe you want to make the witr before going to bed. 1 rak'ah, 3 rak'ah, 5 rak'ah before going to bed. Maybe you want to make wudu before going to bed, as doing that allows an angel to companion you and ask Allah for your forgiveness if you make wudu before going to sleep. Take something regularly and practice it. This hadith teaches us some points here, some lessons today. 1, actions are labeled deen. Actions are labeled deen, part of the religion. 2, it's permissible to swear by Allah to stress a point. 3, it shows the compassion he sallallahu alayhi wasallam had for his ummah, for his nation, for us to be guided. As he guided that woman to a thing that was best for her well-being. Another lesson we take from this hadith, it shows the superiority of regularly worshiping Allah with sunnah acts and maintaining them. Another hadith lesson we take here is it encourages us to regularly practice deeds which we are able to maintain. Don't burn yourself out. The next hadith is faith increases and decreases. Faith increases and decreases. Anas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he narrated the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, whoever said, La ilaha illallah, none has the right to be worshipped but Allah, and in his heart good faith equal to the weight of a barley grain will be taken out of hell. And whoever said, La ilaha illallah, and has in his heart good faith equal to the weight of a wheat grain will be taken out of hell. And whoever said, La ilaha illallah, none has the right to be worshipped but Allah, and has in his heart good faith equal to the weight of an atom or a small ant will be taken out of hell. This hadith, it teaches us that Allah's mercy is vast. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, whoever said, La ilaha illallah, he said it sincerely, believing in it, without doubt, without being composed, without being forced to do it or say it. He said this sincerely, and in his heart he has faith equal to three things. The Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned a barley grain, he mentioned a wheat grain, and he mentioned an atom, a small ant. This Ibn Battal, rahimahullah, he said that this right here, the mentioning of these three things, it shows us that deeds are obedience, and that deeds complete the shahada. Deeds complete the shahada. So we see that Allah's mercy is vast. Even after you say the shahada, he said what? A barley grain, a wheat grain, or an atom. This hadith, it shows us and educates us that people who die without joining partners with Allah will not remain in the hell forever. And I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that none of us go to hell for even one hot second. But if we are tested with that, and we died with sincere belief in our heart that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one without any partners, then we will not remain in there forever, like the kuffar, like the munafiqeen, and so forth. 3, this hadith, it teaches us that verbally pronouncing the shahada, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna muhammadan rasulullah, is a condition for entering into Jannah. This hadith, it teaches us that Islam is complete. That Islam is complete, and that faith increases with obedience and decreases with disobedience. وَسُبْحَانَكَ اللَّهُمَّ وَبِحَمْدِكَ أَشْهَدُ أَن لَّا إِلَهَ إِلَّا أَنتَ أَسْتَغْفِرُكَ وَأَتُوبُ إِلَيْكَ.